Hello, welcome to Happy, Healthy Abundance. And I'm going to just jump on here each week and chat with you about anything having to do with motherhood, money, or mindset, and anywhere in between, because I love talking about all three of those topics. You might catch a few other still pictures. Those are video versions of my podcast. So my podcast is called Reaching Abundance. It's available on all podcast channels. And then in addition, I'm going to be posting real, actual videos of myself chatting with you each week in this channel. If you have any questions, comments, I would love to see them in the comments below. And then if you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you will be notified every time I post a new video. Today, we're going to chat about beliefs and the fact that you may be, unbeknownst to you, carrying beliefs from prior relationships, from childhood, from anything that's happened in your past forward accidentally. And those things might be affecting your financial situation. One easy explanation for this that I think that people understand how this makes sense is if you happen to have a childhood where maybe money was tight and maybe your parents were always fighting about money, or maybe there were lots of concerns about what your family could and couldn't afford, and maybe you very vividly remember being kicked out of your home or having a car repossessed or something really strong like that. It's easy to see how a child with those types of experiences could accidentally carry a scarcity mindset when it comes to money forward into their adult lives. Maybe there's less obvious examples, but you can carry any negative experience forward without even realizing it. So this might be something having to do with a relationship, with straight up money habits that were modeled for you that may not have been the healthiest. It could be something from your childhood, a prior lifestyle, a prior work experience. It could be anything. So we all have experiences in life that impact us and shape us and basically create who we are today. It's what we choose to do with those experiences that affects us going forward. So if you had a negative experience around a workplace meeting, for example, you wanted to go in and present to your manager all the awesome things that you've been doing and you are ready to ask for a raise. Well, maybe something happened and that meeting went terribly and you chose from the time that you were 20 years old or whatever that was to move forward in your life and never ask for a raise again. I mean, that seems like a pretty obvious example, but there are people who tried something once, it bombed, and they're literally just never going to do it again because it was so awful. That made such a negative impression upon them that they are now fearful of anything having to do with that subject. The same thing can happen with personal finances. So I'll use myself as an example. There are plenty of blog posts and videos to share with you about my personal financial story. So there was definitely a point in our lives where we found ourselves drowning in debt and barely able to swim out. We had 2 little babies. We had lots of family drama on my side of the family and just overall a lot of craziness going on. And through all that craziness, I felt like I was just, paying bills as fast as I could and not even really realizing where all the money was going. And I very easily could have sat in that and been like, well, there's just never enough money. I just always am going to have all these bills to pay and life's never going to be any different. And I really could have dwelt there. But I chose not to. There was a defining day and moment that I very clearly remember where I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm over this. This is not the way I wanted my life. This is not the life that I want for my children. We are done with this. And from that day forward, I put my head down and started researching and started learning and started reading books about personal finances and educated myself so that I could dig us out and so that I could begin to educate my children in a way that they would never have to face those same situations. So it was a very clear choice on my part, and I switched that, flipped, and I consciously chose to change our situation. Sometimes things aren't that obvious. Sometimes you don't realize that you're carrying with you the effects of some kind of horrible relationship that you experienced. And so it takes you quite a while to get back out into the market and start dating again. That's okay. But we have to be very conscious of our actions and identify why we're behaving in a certain way. This is really apparent with purchases. Any purchase that you make is emotional. Whether you're buying a coffee, a new shirt, whether you're making your car payment, no matter what you're doing, there is some level of emotion tied to that financial move. Whether it be $5, $600, or thousands of dollars, there is emotion that you feel when you write that check or make that move. Let's take a small example, okay? How about you're going out, you meet a girlfriend for coffee, okay? How many of us do that? I do that a couple times a week, and I really enjoy getting out, meeting new mom friends, seeing old mom friends, and just chatting with other entrepreneurs. It's some of my favorite moments of my week. For example, what if I show up and I order the latte? How do I feel when I make that purchase? Maybe it's $5 or $6 because it's, some fancy coffee shop, okay? So does that $5 or $6 make me feel guilty? Does it make me feel fancy? Does it make me feel excited? How do I feel when I spend that $5 or $6? And then the second step would be, why do I feel that way? So sometimes you buy something or you order something or whatever, and you immediately feel that ping of guilt and almost like an upset, discontent, complete misalignment kind of a thing is popping up for you. Why? You have to be able to notice that, for one, and then sit with it and start to evaluate where that's coming from, why you feel that way. Did you spend unbudgeted money? Is it something that your spouse won't approve of? Is it something you told someone else not to do and then you're doing it? Like, what is it? And the more you notice this, you may not be able to figure out why right away, but the more that you practice noticing whatever the emotion is when you spend money, when you log online and you're making that car payment and you're clicking the button, how do you feel? Are you hating the car that you drive and mad that you have to make this payment, or you feel like you have to make this payment, right? Because everything we do is a choice. If you hate the car you drive and you're making a payment and you're angry every time you're making that payment, why is that? You've got to stop, recognize the feelings, recognize the behavior, and start to figure out why you feel that way. And then guess what? Work towards solving the problem. So if you hate that car and the balance is too big and it has problems all the time and you hate that you still have a payment on it, start looking toward solving that problem. Maybe that looks like trading it in. Maybe that looks like flat out selling it and paying off the dealership. Maybe that looks like downgrading. Maybe you trade it in, you cash out, you say, bye, I'm done, and you buy a cheap little $5,000 car because you don't want to make a payment anymore. And you'd rather go through the emotional confidence piece of having a car that you own outright rather than feeling that angst every time you have to make a payment. So it just depends. The solutions are going to be different for everyone, but recognize the feeling, dig deep and find out why, and then work towards solving the problem. Okay, so with the latte example, we'll go back to that. If you notice that when you order the latte, it's just because you feel fancy that day, but then you're going to walk away and end up feeling guilty when you pull up your bank statement. Notice that emotion and then start to dig and feel, okay, why? I felt so good and fancy when I was there drinking my awesome latte, sitting on the porch, with my girlfriend, but then I walk away and I feel guilty. So what is it that I'm hiding? Did I actually not have $5 budgeted for that latte? Should I not have gone out in the first place? Or is it something where you have plenty of money and you're having some kind of a guilt complex as far as spending money on yourself? You're going to have to dig into, why is that? Was it modeled for you that you shouldn't spend money on yourself? Where did you get this belief? Where did this come from? And how is it affecting you? Not just with this one example, but start to pinpoint how that has affected you in other ways. So recognize the emotion, dig deep, figure out where that belief came from, start to identify where else it is popping up in your life, and then look at the actual behavior that you're doing that's triggering that feeling and start to solve for that. So, for example, I used to be upset and I'd go to the store and I'd buy like some new tops and jewelry and whatever. Well, I would leave the store and immediately feel like I should just turn around and return everything that I bought. Like, it was a fun exercise to go shopping and look at nice stuff, but then why did I buy that stuff? It was an emotional response. Maybe I had a bad day, or I felt like I needed things to fill a void that, I didn't feel like I looked professional enough at work that day. So I felt like I needed some new things. Well, I started practicing where I would look at the cart, everything that I had put in the cart before actually going up to the checkout, and really evaluating, do I already have something similar to this at home? Do I really need these items? Am I really going to wear these items? Are these items even going to look good on me because I just threw them in my cart and didn't even try them on? Is this something that I'm going to feel shameful about, that I'm going to feel like, I don't want my husband to notice that I bought a new top? Why do I feel that way? Why did I come here and do this shopping and pick out all these things and spend an hour at the store if I'm going to turn around and feel like I shouldn't have bought these things? Is it an unworthiness? Is it the fact that I don't think I deserve these things? Was it the fact that I was spending money that I had no idea if it was budgeted for or not? That's what it was. So you go through these scenarios and say, okay, why do I feel this way about this? And should I actually buy these things? And most of the time, once I started to really get honest with myself and go through that practice and ask myself those hard questions, I was able to say, you know what? I already have like a really nice flowy white top like this. I really like this one, but I have one pretty similar, so I'm going to put this back. Okay, so I already have a gold long necklace like this, but I really do want this silver one, so I'm going to go ahead and buy this, and it's on sale. And so I would just kind of really consciously go through what was in my cart, why I wanted it, if I had something similar, and how I would feel taking home that item. Whether that be an online shopping thing, a physical shopping thing like at Target or at the mall, that even translates into the coffee thing. Like when I'm standing there and I'm looking at the coffee menu up above the bar and I'm about to place my order, I sit there and think like, okay, how much money did I budget? What's set aside? What can I spend today? Do I need to really kind of just get the drip coffee for $1? Or can I get something fancier and still feel good about myself? And still feel good about my actions, okay? So it's all about just being conscious of how you feel and your beliefs around your actions and why you're doing what you're doing, and starting to recognize those behaviors. I hope that helps you. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight. I would love to hear what you think. Maybe if you feel like sharing, I would love to hear about a purchase that you've struggled with. If you've identified what past experience affected you in a way that made you carry that belief forward. So At the same time, if you have ideas for different videos or topics that you would love for me to talk about, I would really like to see your comment below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for joining me. Again, I'm Virginia Elder with Happy Healthy Abundance. Thank you for being here. See you next time.